when you take other people's money, the game is elevated to the highest level, and you can become very wealthy, or you can actually end up going bust completely and maybe spend some time in jail, where you will have a captive audience and maybe you can work with them for other projects.
Recently, I've developed an interest in raising capital for a commercial real estate project in New York City. I am trying to educate myself on the topic for a while. I have watched a lot of content on the internet and recently came across your YouTube videos and like what you have done. What I am trying to figure out is how I will structure a fund for this kind of project. The project will be a new development of a sports complex. I need help with the formation structure for this fund. I would also like your feedback about this matter. What is the best practice? Raise capital through platforms like Indiegogo, Quick Start, Search Engine, or Start Engine, or is it better to just have a fund and go raise capital for her own? She said that she has very little experience in raising capital, but she does have experience in doing real estate.
Okay, well, great question. So yes, setting up a fund. So to set up a fund or a syndication and raise money for the projects you have, you must have what I call a business model. In other words, something that you can do repetitively that can actually produce a predictable result. So it's not a fluke. It's not like, oh, I found this guy dying in the hospital. He told me I can buy his property at 60 cents on the dollar. I did it. I want to set up a fund to do it again. Well, what are you going to walk around the hospital looking for dying people who got real estate willing to sell? That's not a business model. That was a fluke. Good for you. It happened once. Maybe you helped the guy. Maybe you took advantage. I don't know. The thing is, you want the business model. I find properties that are in foreclosure and I talk to the banks directly in the non-performing asset department and we do it this way. I get vacant buildings and I add value by doing this. Some business model, and that you've practiced it at least once or twice and you feel confident you can now take other people's money and put it in that project for them to get paid and then you get paid. Because it's very important. When you take other people's money, the game is elevated to the highest level and you can become very wealthy, or you can actually end up going bust completely and maybe spend some time in jail, where you will have a captive audience and maybe you can work with them for other projects. Anyway, just kidding. So it's great that you have some real estate background. I just wanted to give you that cautionary point first. And it's not so difficult to raise capital, because if you have the ability to talk about what you do and you understand people, the raising of the capital will become a natural thing. For example, let's say you do, I was talking to somebody who does notes. They find these notes, they buy the notes at a discount. These people that sell a property, let's say, and carry financing and then want to cash out. So these people buy the notes at a discount. They keep them producing cash flow, then they sell them later, or they sell what's called partial. So they were asking us if they can set up a fund. Yes, they've been doing it, they know how to do it. And all they have to do is, when they meet with people in small groups or one-on-one, they have to understand to do two things. They have to, number one, understand the customer. So Joe, you came in, you're interested in this business model. Are you accredited? That means your net worth $1 million excluding your home. And Joe says, oh yes, I have that net worth because I have this and that. Okay, great. What are you trying to accomplish? Oh, we just want some steady cash flow. We're semi-retired. We don't want to deal with details and tenants and this and understanding notes and all this. We want to give it to a company that is filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, that know what they're doing, and we can get a steady income. We're willing to take less money, but at least we don't have to deal with all the details of it. So now we understood the customer. Now, the next thing is, do you really understand what you're doing and can explain it in simple words? And the simple words have to be structured. And the structure is the 5 Ps. Anybody that have done the program with us when we set up people with funds, because we do that, we help you set up, I help you pitch, I help you do the whole thing. We've been doing it for so many years now. My funds have been up and running for over a dozen years, and we've never missed a payment, no matter what happens in the economy. And we have very happy people. And we've gone through SEC administrative audits. We've gone through any SEC requirement. I mean, I have attorneys calling us, asking us questions regarding some of these things, because we have gone through all the steps possible, because I have that vast exposure being on the internet. So it's a big exposure. Other people want to be working in the down low. I don't mind saying, here's what I do, come and check me out, because we're doing it the right way. And we spend a lot of money on attorneys for compliance. But the key thing is now, when you understand your product and can explain it with the 5 Ps, the 5 Ps are the people, who is involved in the project that you're doing. Who is involved? It is you and a broker and a banker and an attorney, let's say. Okay, and who are you after? Accredited investors? Or you have a type of syndication or a type of fund that can take some non-accredited investors, people without a high net worth. I suggest for you, without knowing you, I mean, if you're interested in the program, you can call Ashley and she will go through the checklist. We run it by the attorney, and there is certain types, but there are 2 types of funds you can set up. One that is for non-accredited investors, you can take up to 35, and as many accredited. And another program called Reg D 506C can only take accredited. So what happens is, once you know what you're doing with these type of funds, and you can explain the people, you can then explain the type of product you're using, the type of property you're going to be buying, the type of projects you're going to be getting into. So the first P is the people, second one is the property or projects or product. And number 3 for the P's is the positioning. Why are you so different? What do you do that's better than others that are in the same line of business? What is your unique selling proposition, like they say? And if you're doing a building, for example, you can say this building is the only one across the street from the university that has larger suites that can accommodate this and that. So you're doing the positioning. Why are you so good in that market? So people, product, positioning, then the performance. When you give me the money, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get these notes. This is how we get them. You have to disclose everything. This is how we get them. You don't have to tell them your secret sauce, but you have to tell them enough for full disclosure. It's not buyers beware. You're now dealing with raising capital where the Securities and Exchange Commission will get a copy of your private placement memorandum, will know who you are, who you're going to raise money from, and what you do. So you're going to actually say, the performance is going to be, we're going to take the money, we're going to do this, we're going to buy that, these notes, they're going to do this and that, or we're going to buy these buildings, we're going to add value by doing this and that. And then the last P is the profit. We expect to raise X millions, and it's going to be millions. You're not going to set up a fund to raise a few hundred thousands, okay? If you're too conservative, raise maybe 1 million, okay? But the key thing is you can raise 1 million and you can leverage it with another 3 million or something and have a critical mass of a good chunk of a project that you have enough cash flow whereby you can pay the investors so much in net cash flow to them. And then when you sell, you give them some of the upside if that's an equity project. If you're going to set up a fund, which is a debt fund, which is my preference, because it's a lot less headaches for you and for the investors, you just tell them, I'll pay you X money if you put so much money. I'll pay you more if you put more money. I'll pay you the most if you put over $1 million or whatever. So now you know your business model, and you have to clearly understand when you buy these notes or when you buy these properties or when you do these developments, what it will bring in terms of income and when it will perform, so you can start paying investors. So you have to make it a win-win. The investors have to win first, then you have to win. And my ultimate suggestion is always invest in your own projects. I cannot tell you how many syndicators and fund managers tell me, oh, I set up this fund and I'm going to raise money, or I set up this syndication. I say, how much are you investing? I'm just putting $1,000. So if somebody asks me, I say, I'm also investing there. Come on, man. If they ask you how much you're investing there, you should be able to disclose fully, because it is full disclosure. I have millions in my own fund and it's disclosed and it's right there in writing. I have family money in the fund. I've been running enough time. So you want to do the same. We would do the training for it. So if you want to know more, we'll tell you, and then you can make a decision, and you can verify with others, see what other people do, and you'll see how we are so different when it comes to that world of syndication, raising capital. All the best.